All right, welcome to part 2 of fingerprinting. You've already learned a little bit of this since we did this today. Latent prints, that's what we've been dealing with. Latent prints are the ones you have to do something to them in order to see them. You can use all kinds of different brushes, all kinds of different powders in order to get them to become visible. And then you can use tape and collect them, just like what we did in class today. Ninhydrin is another thing that can be used. We will do this in class maybe on Tuesday, someday next week we'll do it. And what it does is it reacts with the amino acids that are in your sweat, and it leaves behind a purple print, just like on the check in the picture. It's kind of cool. Another thing is super glue. Super glue is something we will do on Tuesday. And what it can do is it likes to stick to the amino acids as well. And it works really well on plastic and glass, and they've even worked to get it to where they can make these little fume hood things that will cover a human body, and then they can fume the body with super glue. It's the fumes, it's not, they don't pour super glue on them, it's fumes from it, and they'll cover the body with these fumes, and then they might be able to find fingerprints like the person had been strangled or something. It's really cool. Another thing they can do is use silver nitrate. Silver nitrate's really messy. It's also really expensive, so we won't be using it in class. But instead of reacting with the amino acids, this one reacts with the salts that are in your sweat. And when it has a chemical reaction, it gives you this black mark and very good fingerprints. It works really well with stuff like wood and styrofoam instead of just the plain flat smooth surfaces like the other things. Another one that we will do in class is using iodine. Iodine is not permanent with the way it is. It starts to fade, and you get really kind of cool prints though. So I will show you that in class as well. We may do that on Tuesday as well. Here's an example of how we're going to do it. We're going to use beakers and cover it with a petri dish, and that's the kind of print you'll get. It's really kind of cool. Another method are using these fluorochromes that we won't be doing this. It's really crazy messy, so we're not going to do it. But it's something that you can spray and then use UV lights like we did in class, and it will make them pop out. So you could spray the walls and stuff and have this all pop out. Here's just, you do not need to memorize this chart. You really just need to know the things that we do in class. If you're absent, you still need to know the things we do in class. But here's a basic list of the things that can be done and what you'll see. Again, we will not be doing silver nitrate, but we will be doing all the others. What are some future things that might come out with fingerprint technology? Right now, they have some programs that you just put your finger on a little piece of glass and it can read your fingerprints. They're getting better and better though. It's going to get to where you barely have to touch something and they're able to pinpoint all the similarities. Some of you may have to clock in at work by putting your thumb or your finger down. Somebody may have a lock on your front door that you just put your thumb and it reads your fingerprint and lets you in. You can buy those at Lowe's and Home Depot. So this is getting better and better. It's currently out there. They're just going to improve it so much more. Another thing, this isn't really fingerprinting, but it's another type of printing. They can do facial recognition, and it's kind of cool what they are able to do. You can change only so many things about your face with reconstructive surgery, and so they do this at airports a lot. It's getting better, and as the technology gets better and better, they'll just be able to scan everybody and find the bad guys. Trace evidence can be found lots of times in fingerprints. When somebody's suspected of dealing with drugs or explosives like a bomber and they find their fingerprints, they'll test them for explosives and test them for drugs, and it's a way of tying them in there. The technology is getting better and better for being able to only need a smidgen of evidence in order to prove things. We're not 100% there, but we're right there at it. The sizes are really small, but they're going to get even smaller that they're going to need. Some other prints that are out there, you have ears. There is a gentleman in England who actually got convicted based on his ear print when he put his ear up to a window to listen to see if the family was inside the house. Voice prints, they do work. Footprints, we will deal more with feet later on in the semester along with shoes, but those are all types of prints that can be used. The palm prints can be used for all kinds of things. Sometimes people just leave the palm down and not the fingers, and all the different wrinkles you have in your palm can help pinpoint it to you. Footprints, when you're born, your footprint is put on the birth certificate as a way of identifying you in case there's a mix-up. Lip prints, they're not 100% perfect because people get chapped lips really easily, but lip prints can help with identifying somebody if there's like a glass that somebody had been drinking out of and they had chapstick or lipstick on when they were drinking. Teeth marks. Towards the end of the semester, we will deal with teeth marks. There are some people out there who like to bite their victims and they'll leave bite marks behind. There's also people who are burglars and they'll go and they'll bite into apples and sandwiches and stuff in the house and just leave a mess, and they can actually be matched to their bite marks. And the last thing we're going to look at here is your retina. Some of you may have been to the eye doctor and you look in the machine and it gets a picture of your retina. All of our retinas are different, the way the blood vessels form and the way they twist and turn and weave around one another. It's an individual characteristic, and they can use that for all kinds of things you guys have seen in movies where you put your face up against something and they scans the eye. That's what they're scanning. All right, just a reminder, make sure that you have watched both fingerprint videos and both crime scene videos before Tuesday. You have a test on Thursday. Have a great weekend, everybody.